What if the future isn't a utopia of abundance, but a dystopia where Earth is abandoned by the wealthy for the stars? Jeff Bezos, the billionaire founder of Amazon and Blue Origin, has spent billions building rockets and dreaming of space colonies. But his warnings about Earth's dwindling resources and his ambitious plans for space leave us with a chilling question. Is this about saving humanity or saving the rich? Bezos has painted a grim picture of Earth's future. In his speeches, he talks about dwindling resources, overpopulation, and the strain of humanity's unchecked consumption. We must leave this planet, he said, suggesting that humanity's survival depends on colonizing space. But not everyone sees his vision as a lifeboat for all. Critics argue it looks more like a gilded escape plan for the elite, leaving the rest of us to face the wreckage of a collapsing planet. Imagine it. While billionaires board rockets to off-world luxury colonies, the rest of humanity struggles to survive on an Earth ravaged by climate change, depleted of resources, and choked by pollution. Already, the gaps between the wealthy and the rest of society are growing wider. Space exploration, once a shared dream of advancing science and humanity, now looks like the ultimate symbol of inequality. Bezos' vision raises an unsettling question. Are we being left behind? His space company, Blue Origin, isn't just building rockets, it's building an idea. Bezos speaks of moving heavy industry off Earth and creating massive orbital habitats where millions could live. But look closer. These plans come with no guarantees for the average person. They sound more like a futuristic gated community, accessible only to the wealthy few who can afford a ticket to the stars. Is this the next phase of human evolution? Or the ultimate betrayal? The timing couldn't be more ominous. Earth's resources are being consumed faster than they can replenish. Clean water is growing scarce, fertile land is disappearing, and energy demands are pushing the limits of sustainability. While Bezos dreams of thriving space colonies, billions face a reality of worsening droughts, deadly storms, and rising seas. His statements about Earth becoming a beautiful place to visit hint at a chilling future, one where our planet is no longer home. Consider this. What if space exploration isn't about saving humanity, but about creating a lifeboat for the elite? The costs alone, billions spent on rocket launches and space technology, suggest that the average person won't be part of this vision. A ticket to space could cost more than most people will earn in a lifetime. While Bezos frames his projects as humanity's salvation, they look increasingly like the ultimate escape hatch for the wealthy. Bezos insists his motives are altruistic. He says Earth's fragile beauty must be preserved, and space colonization is the only way to ensure humanity's survival. But as his rockets soar higher, so do the doubts. Critics wonder if this isn't another chapter in humanity's long history of inequality. While the wealthy prepare for a future among the stars, who will stay to pick up the pieces on Earth? The question isn't just philosophical, it's deeply personal. What happens to us, ordinary people, if the rich escape to space? If Bezos and others like him succeed, will humanity's future be among the stars, or will we be left to fight for survival on a dying Earth? And what happens when the rockets leave and the door to the stars closes forever? Picture this: the Earth, stripped of its resources, choked with pollution, and battered by relentless storms. Jeff Bezos has warned of this future, a planet so depleted that it can no longer sustain humanity. His solution? Colonize space. But as his rockets rise into the heavens, a darker question emerges. Is the plan to save Earth, or to abandon it entirely? Bezos often speaks of Earth as a precious gem that must be preserved. Yet his vision paints a stark reality where Earth becomes a museum, a relic to visit while the wealthy build lives elsewhere. He envisions giant space colonies orbiting the planet, massive, rotating habitats capable of housing millions. But let's be honest, who will live there? These futuristic cities in the sky sound more like exclusive sanctuaries for the elite, not lifelines for humanity. Meanwhile, down on Earth, the cracks are already showing. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the Earth, is being destroyed at alarming rates, losing its ability to absorb carbon dioxide and stabilize the planet's climate. Deserts are expanding, swallowing once fertile lands. Oceans are rising, displacing millions from their homes. For billions of people, there's no escape plan, no spaceship waiting to take them to safety. And the warning signs are growing louder. In recent years, extreme weather events have become more common. Record-breaking heat waves are killing thousands, wildfires are destroying entire towns, and floods are wiping out communities overnight. Scientists warn that these disasters are only the beginning. As Earth's systems collapse, survival will become a luxury, one only the wealthiest can afford. This isn't just a future problem, it's happening now. In places like sub-Saharan Africa, millions face famine as droughts destroy crops. In coastal cities like Jakarta and Miami, rising seas are already forcing mass relocations. The divide between those who can adapt and those left vulnerable is growing wider by the day. Bezos's billion-dollar space ventures promise hope, but only for a select few. For the rest of humanity, the question remains: what will happen to us when the rockets leave? Critics argue that Bezos's vision isn't about saving humanity, it's about preserving privilege. The resources being poured into space exploration could be used to combat the very problems making Earth unlivable. Imagine if those billions were spent on renewable energy, reforestation, or water conservation. Instead, they're being used to build rockets and colonies that most of us will never see. Bezos talks about moving heavy industry into space, leaving Earth zoned for residential and light industrial use. But think about what that means. Earth becomes a playground for the elite, while the working class is tasked with maintaining what's left. It's a vision of the future that feels eerily dystopian. A planet abandoned by the wealthy, left to decay while the privileged live among the stars. And yet, Bezos insists his motives are pure. He says space colonization is necessary to ensure humanity's survival. But survival for whom? A ticket to a Blue Origin spaceflight already costs millions. The gap between who can afford to leave and who's left behind is growing wider with every launch. This isn't just about technology or progress, it's about power. Who controls humanity's future? Who gets to decide who stays and who goes? Bezos's vision raises uncomfortable questions about inequality, privilege, and the ethics of escape. As the billionaires race to space, the rest of us are left wondering, is there a place for us in their future? The rockets may rise, but the questions remain grounded. And as Earth's resources dwindle and disasters escalate, one thing is clear: for most of us, there is no escape. But what happens when Earth is no longer enough? When the dream of escape becomes a harsh reality for the many left behind? Imagine standing on scorched Earth, the air thick with smoke and ash, as the last rockets ascend into the sky. They carry the wealthiest among us to gleaming colonies orbiting above, a new Eden for the elite. For the billions left behind, there's no lifeboat, no second chance. This is the dystopian future Jeff Bezos's critics fear, a fractured humanity, divided between those who escape and those left to face the ruins of Earth. Bezos speaks passionately about humanity becoming a multi-planetary species, but his vision comes with an unspoken cost. Colonizing space is not just a technological challenge, it's a financial one. Each rocket launch costs millions, each habitat billions, and the reality is clear: only the wealthiest will ever afford the ticket. While Bezos frames his ambitions as the next great step for humanity, the truth is stark. This future will not be for everyone. Think about what's already happening. As Bezos's Blue Origin pours billions into rockets, Earth's crises are intensifying. Rising sea levels are displacing entire communities. Hurricanes are growing fiercer, wiping out towns in hours. Heat waves are killing thousands, while droughts drive millions toward famine. The resources to address these issues exist, yet they're being funneled into space ventures that serve only a privileged few. Critics argue that Bezos's space colonies are less about saving humanity and more about securing a future for the rich. These orbital habitats aren't lifeboats for the masses. They're gated communities in the sky, designed to shield the elite from the chaos they helped create. For the billions who can't leave, Earth becomes a dystopian wasteland, a place where survival is a daily battle. And what of Earth itself? Bezos talks of moving heavy industry to space, promising to reduce pollution and preserve the planet's natural beauty. But this vision assumes the planet will remain livable for those left behind. As resources dwindle and disasters escalate, Earth may become uninhabitable for the billions who can't afford to leave. Bezos describes Earth as a beautiful place to visit, but for most, it's the only home they'll ever know. The consequences go beyond the physical. The social and moral implications of such a future are staggering. What happens to a society when the gap between the wealthy and the rest becomes insurmountable? The rise of space colonies could create a new class divide, one that isn't just economic, but planetary. The wealthy will live above, untouchable and secure, while the rest struggle to survive on a collapsing Earth. This isn't just speculation. Look at the data. A single seat on a Blue Origin rocket costs tens of millions of dollars. The development of space infrastructure, habitats, transport, energy systems will cost trillions. Who will fund this future, and who will benefit? Critics argue that this isn't about humanity's survival. It's about creating a new world order where only the rich thrive. For those left behind, the future is bleak. As climate disasters intensify, competition for resources will grow fiercer. Wars over water, arable land, and energy could become the norm. Governments will be forced to choose between helping their citizens or preserving what little remains. Bezos's dream of a better future for humanity feels increasingly like a nightmare for the many. And yet, Bezos insists that space exploration is the only solution. He argues that Earth cannot support humanity's growing population and industrial demands. But his critics ask, why not fix the problems here before looking to the stars? Why invest billions in rockets when billions on Earth lack clean water, food, and shelter? The answers are as elusive as the promises of space colonization itself. As the rockets rise and the gap between rich and poor grows, one question lingers. Is this progress or the ultimate abandonment? The dream of space once symbolized hope and unity. Today, it feels like a luxury, one reserved for the few, while the rest face a grim reality on an Earth that's running out of time. When the sky becomes a playground for the wealthy, what's left for those who remain on the ground? The year is 2050. Earth's skies are empty, save for the occasional rocket streaking upward, an escape route for the few who can afford it. Below, billions struggle to survive on a planet that can no longer sustain them. This is the dystopian reality critics fear Jeff Bezos is building, a future where the wealthy escape to space while the rest are left behind, forgotten on a dying Earth. Bezos's vision of massive orbital colonies and industrial-free Earth sounds idyllic at first glance. He speaks of a planet restored to its natural beauty, a sanctuary visited only for leisure and science. But look deeper. The colonies he imagines, self-sustaining cities in the void, require immense resources, wealth, and advanced technology. For most, these floating utopias will remain as distant as the stars themselves. And for those left behind, Earth will be anything but a sanctuary. Already, the divide between the privileged few and the rest of humanity has widened to unprecedented levels. Billion-dollar companies pour resources into space tourism, private exploration, and colonization projects, while billions of people lack access to clean water, healthcare, and shelter. The cost of a single rocket launch could fund solutions to some of Earth's most pressing problems, yet that wealth is being funneled into a future where only the elite benefit. Bezos argues that space exploration is the key to humanity's survival, but critics say his actions reveal a different story. While Earth burns, floods, and starves, the billionaire class invests in lifeboats that only they can board. These rockets symbolize not progress, but privilege, a final act of abandonment as Earth reaches its breaking point. And what happens when the divide becomes irreversible? When those in space can look down on Earth, disconnected from its struggles? Bezos claims these colonies will be for humanity, but the evidence suggests otherwise. Consider the cost. Tickets for Blue Origin suborbital flights already sell for tens of millions. Building permanent habitats in space will cost trillions, ensuring that only the wealthiest will ever call them home. This isn't a solution, it's a separation. The impact on those left behind will be devastating. Without the resources or technology to escape, the majority of humanity will face worsening climate disasters, food shortages, and resource wars. Governments will crumble under the pressure, and survival will become a daily battle. For the billions left on Earth, life will be defined by scarcity, conflict, and despair. And yet Bezos insists that his vision is for the good of all humanity. He envisions a future where the Earth's natural beauty is preserved, heavy industry moved to space, and humanity's population thrives among the stars. But the question remains, who gets to be part of that future? And who decides? Critics argue that this isn't about saving humanity. It's about creating a new class divide, one that stretches across planets. As we look to the stars, we must ask, is this progress, or is it the ultimate betrayal? The dream of space once united humanity, offering hope and the promise of discovery. Now, it feels like the final chapter in a story of inequality, a future where the wealthy escape and the rest are left to fend for themselves on a dying Earth. But this isn't just a warning, it's a call to action. The future Bezos envisions is not inevitable. Humanity still has the power to change course, to invest in solutions here on Earth, to close the gap between the privileged and the forgotten. It's not too late to ensure that space exploration serves everyone, not just the few. Before you leave, consider this. The choices we make today will shape the future for generations to come. Will we allow space to become the ultimate symbol of inequality, or will we demand a vision that includes everyone? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay informed about the stories shaping our world. Because in the end, the question isn't whether we'll reach the stars, it's whether we'll do so together. The rockets may rise, but the fate of humanity depends on what we do now. Will we act before it's too late?